I have pushed the requisite button. Start the stream. Like, the stream is working. Alright. Well, I have a bunch of to-do things to work on. I kind of wanted to work on zooming today. So, Alt left clicking and dragging should draw a region when it's released. Zoom to that. Right clicking zooms out. Actually, not sure if I really want to do all the way. I think we'll do one step. Undo last zoom. I think that's what I want to do. But then the problem becomes we draw a region and then we drag it around. What happens when we right click? We just return to the last zoom no matter what we dragged? I'm thinking the answer is yes. See how it goes. So I guess we'll start with this. We want to draw a region with Alt left clicking and dragging. So I did clicking and dragging in the hex editor. Close, actually, I want these, I want to close everything to the... Okay, so then that under hex editor source lib. Okay, we only have sense hover in the main area. We're not using that response, so that must not be the area that we're actually clicking in. I guess it's inside main area. Yeah, click and drag. So we want to make sure we're using that over here in sense. At all, so I think we're just going to turn that to click and drag. Aha. Server response. Okay, so if it's clicked, wait, position is separate from response. Because it's interact pointer position. Okay. Am I using that? Interact pointer position. Call hierarchy, please. A selection. Inner, that's not it. No, that is it. Inner, it's hover position. Interact pointer position versus hover position. What's the difference? There's Straight Monkey. The tower strike. Where the mouse touch where when this widget was clicked or dragged, and that differs from hover position how. If it's a good idea to show tool to where's the pointer. Yeah, so that's not really what we should be using, right? Let me see what happens if I change it to interact pointer position, because I'm wondering if it'll break it because this looks like it's only supposed to work if you click and drag. So let's see what happens. Change it and see. What's a smarticle particle? What's the square root of 2? Oh, it's square root of 200 IQ. Okay. All right. See, yeah, we only get a position if I'm holding the mouse and dragging. Actually, releasing the mouse button, we don't get an update at all. All right. Well, that answers that question. So I guess I do want to use hover position or something else. Question I have is that the best? So like, get a browser going here. This must be in my history, right? GUI, there we go. Hover position, right? Response, there we go. I mean, I should line that up just there. There we go. Position. Hover position, interrupt pointer position. Those are the only two. Pointer button down on hover UI. I think I actually called this on hover UI. Yeah. Oh, not here. Maybe I didn't call it. That was in the data tree. I handled a hover thing there. Let me. Guessing that's in draw. Oh. I just did my own hit test thing. Okay. So I didn't even really rely on eGUI at all. Actually, no, that's not exactly true. How did I draw the hovering thing? That's not it. I think it was in here I did it. I just clicked it back to itself, didn't I? Well, no, it is in here. Okay, it actually, we look into the visitor. Draw row. Structures. Row columns. Draw a row with columns. Draw a row column. Ah, here we go. So I went directly to show tooltip at pointer. That's what I did. So I didn't use this on hover UI at all. Okay, well, forget about that then. Clicked by, double clicked by, triple clicked by, hovered. Pointer is hovering above this widget, or the widget is click tap this frame. Contrast it contains pointer would be false whenever some other widget is being dragged. Okay. Contains pointer. Even if some other widget's being dragged. Okay. Drag started. Drag stopped. Okay, well, No big deal. I'll just do what I did in here. So I'll get interact pointer position. Except for when the mouse is released, we'll have to handle that, right? I think that's one of these ones that I just looked at. Drag released, rename drag stopped, widget was being, well, that's what the widget was being dragged. We're not dragging widgets, we're just dragging the mouse pointer around. Like clicked as if is on mouse down. What's mouse up? I guess it's the if I guess we'll have to hold on to some state for by ourselves, right? I mean, I'll have to remember the first corner you clicked anyway. Yeah. So we'll have some state that remembers the first point clicked. Then we'll see, just like I did here, if you click, we're starting. Otherwise, if we're dragging, then yeah, we should expect to have a original position, just like in the hex editor, right? No, this is different. We do have an if else. Interesting. Oh, because I have a distinction. I guess clicked is only if you click and then release, right? I do not even remember. So let me see. Target, right? Actually, I guess we can just do cargo run on it. But all they take, as long as the Rust compiler wants it a fickle master. All right, there we go. So only when it's released do we actually get it. So clicked means you press the mouse and you release without dragging. I suppose we want the same. So I don't really care about clicked. It's really dragged, and then we'll have our own state, right? Click is registered when the mouse or touch is released within a certain amount of time and distance from where it's pressed. Okay. Got it. So, let me look around here a little bit. Yeah, I guess we'll just handle it like we do here, where we just check if it's dragged or not. If it's not dragged, then we see do we have drag state, and then we do the zoom. So let's prototype this, I guess. So an image viewer here. I guess it would be after we draw the selection in draw here. Yeah, like where this to do is. So oh, yeah, this is because I'm passing inner area 3 times. All right, never mind. So there's still a to do there. So handle dragging to zoom in. And then I think we also want to do around the same here is handle right click to zoom out. And whatever else I said to do. Oh, zoom in out on mouse wheel. There we go. It's control. It's a what is that one? Not alt. It's control click, control tab. All right. So right. This is handle dragging, alt dragging. I'll handle dragging to shift image around. Right, we're gonna handle those later. So I guess this will be first if we already have some state. Zoom drag. Doesn't exist yet. Guess we also have to check if we don't have a zoom drag, if we're dragged, right? Not have a response for the image area? I do not. It would be this inner area response, wouldn't it be? Yes. Okay. Add the zoom drag thing. Have a quick thing to do it. Add field to record struct. Sure. Hey, look, it added it. So optional something. Really just a fuzz2, right? Yeah. Okay. Need to initialize it. Kitty. Hello, kitty. Hello, kitty. Very sharp claws. Okay, so here then, if inner area response dragged. Who's a cutie? I know Kitty's a cutie. She's got long claws and she doesn't like being pet, but other than that, she's a good kitty. Actually, the long claws, I guess, is my fault. I'm supposed to trim the claws. So I'll handle this one. Because this one's easy. This is going to be self-release. Well, zoomed on, zoom, drag. Well, zoom in, really, right? Area. We don't have yet. You adopted a kitten? You have 4 cats now. I've heard that the magic number, if the cats like each other, is 2, but 3 is 1 too many. 4 seems like a lot. Okay, so this is self.zoom drag equals some position that we clicked on. We're gonna have to figure out what the position is. Oh, that actually doesn't go there, that goes here. What goes here would be just updating. I guess we can do a take. We can take it out and put it back in, right? Because then which makes me think that this is more like a rectangle, not a position. Yeah. We don't have one, but we start dragging, then we're making some new one. From point, from position. Zero size rect, that's exactly what we want. So this would be like position. Maybe just keep it simple and assume that we're always modifying the lower right corner. And then when we're actually drawing it, we'll if the two corners are not the top left, lower right, we'll figure out the correct corners and draw the and fix the rectangle. Yeah, so this will just assume that the bottom right is the one we want to change. Max, right? Let position equals self dot. Hold on, I think on this I used the interact position, right? Yeah. Okay. Because they're different variables, I feel like they could be different, so we want to use the correct one. I kind of feel like that this check on dragged, I should pull it out and do that on the outer. Then I can also do this. I can say if let some position is is a inner area response interact pointer position and dragged. Because if it's not dragged, then we have to say if that, then this. This goes here. I actually want to have two different alternatives here. Yes. Because I want this to go um, 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 um. You think about this. So if we have an interact planar position, then well, hold on. There are three things I care about. You start dragging, you stop dragging, and you drag and you're in the middle of dragging. Those are the three I care about. The start dragging really is if it really is just this, right? So if we actually that's if we're dragging, then I have to have this inside of here, right? But then I have this in two places. I guess it's okay that we're taking it twice, right? So this is already word dragging. Update second point. You know, I think then I'm really not going to use two. I'm not going to really use a rect. I'm going to use an array of two positions. And it doesn't even really need to be an array. It could just be a tuple. Because this just becomes one, and this is a mute. And this is just the same thing twice. Okay. So I think that's fine. Zoom drag. So we end up getting 2 points. Then let me make it, because I'm going to use it in a second. Let's make a convenience function. Rect from 2 points. There actually might already be a function to do this here. Points. There we go. Bounding box around the points. That's what we want. Okay, that uses a slice of position 2, so maybe I should do that as well. Then I don't really need a function. I know which function I'm going to call. Yeah, so then it really is better to have this be a fixed array of 2 points, because then I can use it directly with that other function. So and this looks a little bit better as well. And then this is just this, right? Okay. Not started dragging. Started dragging. Start with both points start at same position. Stopped dragging. Zoom to bounding rectangle. So then I know I can just do this, right? Rect from points, and I can just borrow that. And then I just need to have a method called zoom. So that's display coordinates though, so I really need to map that to I need to map this. So map let's just have a helper function that says image position from UI. Actually, it doesn't really need to have, no, it does have to have state, because we're going to hold on to this in state. We're going to hold on to what we're currently zoomed in before we started dragging. So, but this does need to know the position and the inner area, because we need to get the offset from the inner area. Oh, we also need to know the image scaling, right? How do we find the scaling? Oh, wait, no, we don't need to know the scaling, because we should know in state. So this is what it currently is, but when we zoom, it's going to be dependent on the zoom factor. So this is all the information we'll need. Sent me cat pics to peruse after see. Oh, thank you, Nightshade, dude. Kitten is already chaos murder floof. Yes. Watch out for those murder mittens. Yeah, well, dude, I don't know. Can you train kittens to be tolerant of trimming their claws? Because if so, that sounds like the thing to do. Get them used to it early, so that you don't have harder time training them later. Yeah, cat claws get sharp like really quick, so I'm not good enough to trim them often enough. I'd need to trim them more. But you'll know when you need to trim them. You start getting these scratches all over your hands and arms because of incidental murder bitten swipes. Either that, you'll start seeing shredded furniture, and then I guess by then it's a little too late. But you know, I just know I don't trim my cat's claws enough. Okay, so we have two things we need to do. We need to zoom and we need image position from UI. I'm trying to make an effort to do early refactoring. In fact, I think this ought to be already refactored out. Fun name. Handle zooming in. Zooming by dragging. Let's see if this actually still works. So sort methods alphabetically. Yay, it works. I don't have to actually place it. And we'll just add the new zoom one now. Self. Not exactly correct, is it? We need a rectangle. The new bounds. Okay. Need this image that goes here, right? It gets a position, and then inner area is the image area UI, which is a rectangle. And then this is supposed to return a position 2. This needs to be mutable. Oh, wait. Hold on. We don't allow mutability within this. Right. I only had one thing that I was mutating, but now we have two things. So it makes me think we need to have an inner. So let's do that. Struct inner. This is the thing. This inner as an interior mutability. This is what we need to mutate. That we're going to put inside the ref cell. So that and the zoom drag. So then this just becomes inner. Goes there. And it's ref cell inner. And let's just change all the things that need to be changing from that. So inner. Self inner borrow. And then this is inner.texture as ref. Wait. Image. Okay. So, inner. And this is inner image. And then inner image again. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna want to mutate it. So let inner equals self.inner.borrow mute. So this is inner. Okay. This becomes inner. And it moves down to here. This goes away. Okay. Zoom drag. I thought I got rid of that. Did I not? Must not have. Nope, I did not. Okay. Okay, so this is saying that I don't actually consume that, so I can just borrow it. That's the refactoring step. Thought I should just own it, but the linter is smarter and says, oh, you can just borrow that. Okay, so which one do I want to do first? Let's do image position from UI, because that's easiest right now, and then we'll have to adjust it when we actually implement the zoom state. So right now that's just position minus image area UI dot left top or top left. Left top, and then that divided by self dot image size UI unscaled, I think, right? Unscaled, that's correct. No, it's not correct. I have to multiply by that and divide by the image area UI dot size. And then if I want it to be a position, then I have to turn the whole thing back to a position. I think that's correct. So like if you're at the top left, this would be 0. So you would get 0 back, which is what I want. So if it's like, let's say it's on the bottom right, then it'll be like the bottom right minus the top left will be the same as like the image area. So dividing by the image area, you get 1. Multiply by that, so you get like in image coordinates, in the image's coordinates, the bottom right of the image. Yeah, I think that's correct. So then now we need to implement the other one. So new bounds is easy because it's already in the current image coordinates. We just need to do self dot inner dot borrow mute, and then here's where we need to add state. So let's just call it zoom for now, and then maybe I'll rename it later. Easy. So then we need to add zoom, and I'll rename it later. Right now it's going to be we know the image width and height at the very beginning, so that means we should be able to know the zoom from the very beginning. So let's just make it a rectangle. Okay, and that means the zoom will be rect from min max, and that's the min 0. So pos to 0, shortcut for 0. There is. And then the max is pos to image width as f32. Oh, we have that already, right? I have that, but in the form of a member function, so we can't use that here, right? Because we don't actually have a self yet. That was the unscaled coordinates right here. Do I really want to put the common code in one place and call it from both of the both here and the new function? I kind of do. That means I need to have like a shared common function down here somewhere. What do we want to call it? Like image to UI, I think. That's what I'll call it. Image to UI. And so the image is I guess we'll just make it 2 U sizes. And we get back out of a pos 2. A vec2, I guess. Oh, that is a difference. One's a vector and one's a position. So we can make this a position, and then one other one that needs a vector, we could just actually, I guess it's going to be a vector. Yeah, we could just do two vec. So that's just pos 2. So we get rid of the self, and we just do pos 0 and pos 1. Okay, so then I'm going to use that in the member function called image size UI unscaled. So that should just say image to UI self dot image with self dot image height to vec2. Right? What's wrong with that? Oh, that could be a const function, right? There we go. If you can make a function const, you should, according to the linter. So I'm trying to do that. Oh, it can't be a const, so never mind. The other one can be const. So here, this is where I wanted to use it again. So here it's image to UI image with image height. So then the grossness of doing the allowing precision lost is in one place, and we just call it from two different places. There and there. One we need it to be as the vector, but we have the two vec. Oh, there's a position. Okay, cool. Then where is this zoom used? Okay, so this will work until we actually zoom in, and at which point we're not gonna. The zoom actually won't actually zoom, and also the image position from UI is not taking the zoom into account. So that's, I think I'm going to do that next. We're going to have this one take into account the zoom. So this puts it into an absolute number of pixels from the top left. So instead of this size, it's going to be so if we let, oops, I just lost my spot. Shoot. Here. So let. Okay, I'm a little nervous that I might have multi-borrows on the inner. I need to double check that we don't do that. Let's check call hierarchy here. Yep, we're gonna have a multi-borrow. Okay, so I think we don't really need the self. Let me think about this. I think it just takes the inner. So then this would be inner. And this moves to the inner. We don't have an implementation of, but now we're going to. Yay. There we go. Then we don't need to borrow again. So this uses zoom instead of that, right? No. We do need to know the image size. So image area. We need to know that, but we also need to know the image size. As what? A vec2? What does that return? A vec2. Okay. So this just becomes image size. Right, and then zoom is what replaces this. But now, because zoom doesn't always start at 0, 0, we need to add zoom left top. Self zoom. Expected of vec. To vec. Alright. I have to correct where this is actually used, so we need to have the image size tunneled in here. So that's self dot this, right? Okay. Let me double check that this looks correct now. So now that if we have a zoom area, converting an image position from the UI coordinates is we get the offset from the top left of that, multiplied by, okay, this is wrong then, right? It's not by image size, it's by the zoom size. So maybe I didn't need image size after all. Yeah, we didn't need that. Wait a minute, no, that's the zoom size. So this is actually wrong. I did the wrong thing. That's image area UI size, right? This is self zoom size. And I don't need an image size. Okay, so back to here, we don't need that. All right. The other thing I need to do, I think... Oh, no, I already initialized this, right? This initializes it with the image's width and height. Okay, correct. Okay. So, double checking again. So, this gets an offset from the left top of the UI area, and then multiplying or dividing by that area's size gets us from between 0 and 1 in each dimension of on screen, and then multiplying by the zoomed area size gives us pixels in the image. And then I have to add the top left of the zoom because it might not be 0, 0. Okay, so I think this is correct now. So then, just to make sure I didn't break it, zoom actually get updated and it actually should work, but one thing I'm not doing is if we do have a zoom track, we're not drawing it as a rectangle. Let's do that. Same way I've been doing it before, where I draw two rectangles, one with an outside and one color, and the inside in a different color. So I find that, like, draw. Doesn't really matter in the order in which I do it, right? So I could just maybe just do it after we handle, because this will give us the updated coordinates. So draw, zoom, rectangle, if any. This borrow and then going into this, we're borrowing again, so that's a problem, right? Do I use self anywhere else? I do. Yeah, I have to be very careful about how I treat these inners. The default way to solve a multi-borrow is to push the innermost function into the inner class. So I think this actually has to move into the inner class along with zoom, which makes sense to me. So let's move the zoom into the inner. And another way to handle it is just move everything into inner that isn't implementing a trait. That's maybe the safest. So this is just then self.zoom. Mutable. Okay. I haven't done it yet, so let's mark it to do. All right. Yeah, so this has to kind of go into the inner also. Handle zooming by, okay, this is going to be mutable because we're doing, we're calling a mutable method there. We don't need to borrow it as mute. The inners become selfs again. Inner dot. Okay. Correct. All right. So this becomes inner. We are actually mutating it. Okay. So then to draw the zoom rectangles, if let some zoom area, I forget what I called it, is inner dot, okay, zoom drag. And let's borrow it instead of taking it. So then don't I just want to say let zoom rect or zoom area equals rect from points zoom drag. It's a rectangle, and then we just draw it, right? So same way that I drew the selection cursor. So let me find where I drew the cursor. It was right here. Right there. Okay, but this gives me points in the UI space, right? So this is actually exactly correct. That's what we want. So this is zoom area. Goes here. Oops. That did not copy. Paste what I wanted. It's still not doing it. There we go. All right. I have a warning up here. What is the warning? Could be const. I didn't know you could have a function that mutates be const, but I guess you can. Kind of weird. I still haven't gotten used to const functions in Rust. This is being run from that tab, so we go back to that tab. Let's see how... Okay, one problem I just realized, I'm not checking the Alt key states, so right now it's just left click and drag without holding down Alt. So I'll have to fix that. Also, the ruler is not taking into account the zoom position, so the coordinates are going to be wrong. But if I just click and then drag... Okay, it drew it, but it drew it way up in the top left, so I didn't scale... Oh, it's putting it in image coordinates. Okay, when I released it, it didn't actually zoom. Oh, it did zoom, but because I can tell because this rectangle is smaller now. Right, it's not using the zoom. It's not using the zoom rectangle when it's actually drawing, and it's not using the zoom rectangle when it's drawing the when it's marking up the ruler either. So a couple bugs then, right? So we got bugs. That's so I need to have one for the opposite direction, right? I think I'm putting I'm using this. Zoom drag is in image coordinates, not UI coordinates. Which is okay here. It's in image coordinates. Need to remember that. Yeah, but this is not correct. We need to convert it back into screen coordinates. So this should be like mapped. We need to go back to inner to do this, right? UI position from image. So the inverse of that. So turning this inside out. So yeah, we're going to need to pass the, I think it's just the reciprocal of this, right? So it would be position minus this, and then flip these two, so it's times that divided by that. And then I need to add this one's top left back into it. Okay, so these two are flipped from each other. So then, yeah, that needed the inner area, right? Oh. So, So it's not rect from points. Wait. Well, there's 2 points there. So the type of that is... Why is the type of that pause? That's not right. So this is why this gives me an error, right? Yeah, I need to actually iterate that. And then collect it again. That's... What's wrong with that? Oh, dereference. And then... This slice cannot be built, so I just need to reference it, or really the from points. Okay, it is a reference. So I need to just tell it what to collect into. Can I just do that and it'll figure it out? No, it needs to actually know the 2. Or it doesn't even like that type. Oh, you can't build it? What if I give the type, can it figure it out? It can't build an array? An array of type that cannot be built directly from an iterator. Trait is not implemented. Okay, then I guess we're making a vector of positions. We can tell it to figure it out. Yeah, okay. So we had to make a temporary vector on the heap so that we can borrow it and give it to from points. That's fine. Okay, that should take care of the drawing of the rectangle. So I guess we'll test that first. So now when we draw the rectangle, the drawing should be correct again. Or it should be correct now. It wasn't correct before. I can't use the word again. Click, drag. Okay, it's working. Look at that. I should be able to drag in all 4 quadrants, and it figures out the correct top left and bottom right. But releasing it, it didn't update. It didn't actually update the drawing thing. Nor did it update the numbers drawn. So we need to do that. Let's do the drawing of the image first. That needs to be corrected. So draw. Draw image and get drawn area. Okay, so I think what I need to do is do a UI here, or UV. So we need to get into 0 to 1. The zoom area into 0 to 1, right? Right. So well, why don't I just make it so that the caller has to provide that? In fact, I can just pass along that it's an impl into rect. Let it worry about that, right? So where we call it, let's put the UV after the texture handle. Yeah. So that it's just this one, right? So I just need to do a rect the same rectangle, right? Which makes me think that I should have a helper to do this for me. I should have a helper for this, right? Yeah, yeah. So let's make a helper for this. Function. Fun. A function with a fun name. Oh. Why did it do that? Oh, because it doesn't know that it should just add it to inner. So we'll fix that right now. I guess it's gonna go here. Fun name, where are you? Right, so it doesn't know that it should have done inner dot fun name. That's fine. Okay, so then oh, it doesn't have a self. Should have fixed that before I left here. So yeah, this should just be self. All right, and then this is self. Like I'm like, I type in and double clicking skills not so good today. Okay, this zoom drag, we already know what it is, right? No, we don't. That's if we have one. So we keep that. Okay, so then spectrum points that, self position UI image. This leverages the zoom. That's right. Okay, so what to call this? It's a fun name is fun, but what's the real name? Zoom drag UI, right? Real fun name. There you go. Hey there, winter coating. Actually, I think I wanted to modify this a little bit. I think I would just want to do this. And then let it handle this argument. And then I'll have it return an optional rectangle. So then this will return an option rect. And then the way it gets zoom drag is we'll say self.zoomDrag.map zoom drag into that. And then I don't need that. That. Okay. Have errors. Oh, this needs UV coordinates. Right. That's what I was in the middle of doing, and then I got distracted, right? And what's up with this? Zoom area. Okay. So the way I was going to do this was what? It needs the UV coordinates. Right. So I want to do inner dot zoom drag UI inner area. Why was this an option again? Oh, I don't want zoom drag. No, I want zoom, not zoom drag. That's I want that rectangle. That is in image coordinates. So okay, I know what I need to do. I don't actually want to call that this zoom drag UI. I want to do inner.zoom, and that needs to be like mapped into UV coordinates. Actually, why don't I just make this a new method? Zoom UV. We'll just give it a name. It wanted a rectangle, right? So let's give it the wrong rectangle at first and make sure it compiles. Yeah, okay. So then what I want to do is map. Okay, so I can't. I'm forming a new rectangle then, right? From, I guess from min max, right? And these are the 2 points. We'll just give them names. Self.zoom.min. Does this have a map? No. Well, really, we just have to do the maths, right? So that's divided by the image size. We don't have that in here. Oh, we need it in here, don't we? Yeah, I need it to be in here. It needs to know the image width and height. And I'm getting closer to collapsing those into the same into one variable that has it's either yeah, it would just be a pos2, I think. I'm getting close to doing that, but not yet. Okay, anyway, if it's then it's just image yeah, it would be I had a helper for this, didn't I? Image to UI, right? Sort of. It was this, but we're gonna move that. Wait a minute, no, we're not moving that one. Oh no, I am moving that one. UI unscaled, yes, okay. We are moving that one. I think I'm moving everything into inner. I think that's the direction we're going. Because that is what I need in here. Oh, this min is a position, right? So I need to turn that to a vec. And then back into a position here. Right, so the maximum wouldn't it just be the same only with max? I think so. I think that's the zoom UV coordinates. Yeah, I think so. I believe that is it. Okay, but I moved stuff around, so this is going to get really complicated. Right. Draw selection. Call hierarchy. Called from draw. Okay, that so we just move draw selection to the inner. That fixes that. That's going to pull in everything else, I think. Because I'm really getting rid of everything from image viewer other than inner, right? And yeah, the pixels are probably going to go with it. Yeah, let's just bite the bullet. So we're moving everything into inner. It makes sense because really the outer is really supposed to just be a handle, a shared handle to something that's it has mutability. Yeah, okay. So then to make my life easier, wouldn't I just take pretty much all of the other methods of not the inner, but of the image viewer, and I would just take them all out and put them. Almost all of these would go into inner. Almost all of them. I took all of them. We're gonna put a few back though. I think it's the new that goes back, right? Okay, and because image height and width moves in there, and so does pixels. Yes, so it's a little bit different here because why did I do it that way? Shouldn't that have just have been self dot? Anyway, it's going to be self.inner.borrow .layout and draw with the UI. Yeah, so this is just inner. So the outer ones are always going to borrow the inner ones, basically. Okay, and then I don't need to do this anymore. This just becomes a mutable. Inner becomes self. Okay, and then same thing here. That needs to be mutable. Immutable access. Self. Self. Just take inner dot and hit Control D a few times. Do self dot. Right, and then this needs to be mutable. So that's borrow mutable. And that's mutable because draw is mutable because when we drag as a response to drawing, we might update the zoom. That makes sense. Okay. It all makes sense to me. So then that should fix what we draw, the UV coordinates, right? So then the only thing really that I haven't fixed is the numbers in the rulers are going to still be wrong. All right, so zoom into the eyeball. It didn't work. Oh, it did, but I had to move the cursor. So what does that tell me? It tells me that we need to force a redraw after we release the mouse button. I see another problem. My cursors are too small. Yeah, so it's still thinking that I'm looking at the original image when it comes time to draw the selection rectangle and draw the numbers. Probably the magnifier is broken too. Yeah, the magnifier is broken because, yeah, it's magnifying the original image. Okay, so we just have to fix the things. But first, let me fix this. So again, this bug was that if I drag and then release, and I just don't touch the mouse, it doesn't update. But if I barely touch the mouse, boom, it updates. So we got to fix that. Believe that way that works is when this zoom, when we get all the way back out of this. Actually, no, we have access to the UI in here, right? I have access to you. I don't have access to UI there, but I do here. But I could pass that in, right? Pass it in. Because with the UI, we can tell it that we want to redraw. So inside here, we could say if we ended up zooming, then UI dot request redraw. Context request request repaint. There we go. And it looks like we don't need mutable access to the UI to do that. Okay, so that should have, okay, just notice my terminal is a little bit too tall. Little bit too tall. There we go. What kind of data is being parsed? I will tell you in a moment. You can actually kind of get a hint about what data we're parsing. Okay, it still didn't work. It didn't repaint right away. A little aside to talk about the data we're parsing. Parsing this file called PogSlide. It's this animated GIF, right? So the way we parse it is I have a program that you can put that PogSlide.gif in, and the program reads it like a binary file, and it figures out what every byte means. So if I click there, it says, oh, those 3 bytes means the signature in the header, and that's the encoding of the version number, and that's the logical screen width, and that's the logical screen height. So then the question becomes, how did my program know how to turn those bytes into all the data that's in the file, right? And that's through a second file we give to the program called the format. It looks like this. It is written in a language that I invented, which means my program has a compiler inside. So when you feed it the format file, it compiles this format as using its format language into a recipe in memory that it uses to parse the input bytes. And the language is pretty much what looks like functions are actually just recipes on how to parse things. So this is all the top level instructions for how to parse a GIF file. So you see if I collapse these, you have header, logical screen, data. And that's header, logical screen, data. Oh, there's also the trailer at the end there. Trailer. And the language, the statements of the language are like the pieces of the thing you're parsing. So like header is a piece of GIF, and signature is a piece of header, and version is a piece of header. But you can also have conditionals. You can have loops. Conditionals do what you think. It's like flow control through the recipe. And also like you can have an optional thing that you only parse if some condition is true. Loop is a little weirder in that, like, let's say we loop and we have multiple datas. The way I came up for that is data itself becomes a vector, and each element of data is what we parsed in that iteration of the loop. So this is the first time we went through the loop to parse data, and that's the second time, that's the third time. And so you can see they're all kind of contiguous in the file, which makes sense, right? After you parse the first data, the next data is going to follow right after. So yeah, I use GIF as an example, and I'm playing around with because it encodes images. I wanted to make an image viewer for that, because if I dig down in here and show you like an individual image, that's the raw data that you use along with the palette to figure out what you would draw on the screen. And it's like, you know, it'd be really cool if I could click that, and not only does it show me where it is in the file, but instead of showing me the raw pixel indices, so to speak, the color palette indices, that it could actually show you the image. So if you like imagine it's like this, and like if this was just embedded down here. So I'm developing the image viewer separate, but eventually I'm going to integrate it back into the main UI so that when you click on either the image or the data block or whatever, it would show you the image, and then you could like click on 2, 3, 4, and then it would show you the different frames of the GIF. Been looking forward for such a tool for a long time. That's why I'm making it, man. I feel the same way. The coolest thing, the reason why I'm working on this, because there are a lot of GIF viewers. They're built into most operating systems, right? So why do I need a new one? Well, making it programmable is really neat in that you can reverse engineer formats by just guessing what comes next, and you can see what the parser spits out. You can also just give it a whole like catalog of different formats. So like, here's another format for JSON, right? For like web dev stuff. So it can describe JSON, it can describe GIF, and if I kind of challenge myself by trying to parse all sorts of different formats that are structured differently, I should make the parsing language and the parser itself flexible enough so that it could theoretically parse anything. It could maybe be kind of like, you know how you can, there's the packet analyzer called Wireshark, and then there are plugins you can write for it so you can like teach it new protocols. So this would be kind of like that. Only it's my own version of it. So yeah, today I'm mostly working on that little image viewer I showed you. So this would be like the control that you interact with when you click anything that the parser pulled out of the file that represents an image. So images are one thing you might want the parser to visualize, so to speak. Another thing would be like audio clips. So there might be like I might want like a little waveform display. Video is really just images that flip through according to an animation timing sequence, right? So an animated GIF would just be this, just automated. You have your own binary file format for game assets? Yeah. Oh, there's a third format. There's another streamer here on Twitch who's might still be streaming, Quantum Apprentice, and he was reverse engineering, or not? He was not reverse engineering. He's doing vibe coding, trying to get AI Grok to build a video player for an old format called VME. And so he was working on that. I'm like, oh, there's another challenge for my parser. Can I teach it VME? So a VME config, and then no, that's the wrong thing. I need the VME config. Where is that? This one. And then I want the logo is the example VME file. So this doesn't parse enough that we could reconstruct an image yet, but conceivably it would. I just need to interpret these opcodes here. If you watch his stream, he's writing a parser that's digging into the meat of this and reconstructing an image from it. Because like you would go into this video data, and this is basically where I stopped. Like here's the bits that are associated with the video data opcode, and the parser doesn't know how to. I don't have any. I haven't written the syntax for that, so everything like that's to do in my parser, I just use bits. And so when we reach a bits, it's like, well, there's just some random bits in there. We don't know how to parse it yet. If we teach it writing more of the syntax in here, you can imagine we would reconstruct the pixels and be able to use my image viewer to show the video again, along with there's like timing. I think that's what this create timer. So these bits here are setting up a timer for playing, like when to go to the next chunk, I think, right? And there's also interleaved in here. There's the audio to play at the same time. So yeah, that looks like this. So if you were watching Quantum Apprentice's stream, you'll probably see the similar things. There's like this expected header, and then there's like some magic words, and then there's just chunks while you have remaining bits. And a chunk has a length, a type, and then the bounded by the length converted to bits is you have opcodes. And the overall chunk type can be interpreted. There's like 6 different things it could be. And then opcode, it's a similar thing where there's a length, a type, a version. And depending if you, and I've taught it like the opcode type 5, because that was easy. That's how you get the width and the height and some other things about the video. And like there's a resolution for the video. And then I got down to here where it's like we interpret the opcode types that we haven't filled in yet, but we don't know how to parse those bits yet. Just a viewer upper can use to parse the file and use the data of it. So you can use some of the data, and you can't modify the data yet. Ultimately, what I'd like is both to be able to view and change the data and have it write it back, because that would be super awesome. Like, imagine if you can go in and just change the palette of a video and just change the color or something like that. Wouldn't that be neat? So you can view it like this. I should just hide the log because we don't hardly ever use it. So we're viewing a VME file, right? And if let's go back So it makes more sense. If we go back to GIF. And then pog slide. So this is this pog slide animated GIF. So you can use the data either as a user just by viewing it here, or you can automate it in a script. So I've taken the core of the parser and made it work as a Lua plugin. So that's how I've been, when I flip back over to here and I'm just running on the command line, you can see me running Lua. There's a script, and the script is automating the parser to extract out one of the decoded images from the GIF file, and then we're using the data as a sample image to test the image viewer. So let me show you that view.lua. So here's how you pull in a Lua plugin. So I basically packaged the same core parser that's in this, only instead of having its own UI, it's just made available. Its functions, its tuple of functions, are made available to Lua as functions, and with wrapped into Lua. So we're doing, we're automating the pulling in the GIF format, pulling in that pog slide GIF, and then parsing it, and then what we get back out, this GIF represents this entire tree. So that's how I'm able to go to the logical screen and get the global color table out. It's the same as if I click here and I find, oh, here's the global color table, right? Here's its size, right? Same thing that the script is doing. And then this is how it extracts the actual image. It goes into the data, to graphic, all that stuff, and then gets out the width, height, and the data. Same thing, like if I were to do it, it would be go to this, go to table-based image, go to the image descriptor, there's the width, there's the height, and here's the image data. So that's what we're automating in with Lua script. Well, you see a massive series of else if statements there to get an integer value. I went a little fast, so I'm not sure exactly which if else you were looking at. What if I go back? Oh, these are just placeholders. And really, I'm just interpreting the type, which is an integer. Type is parsed up here. It's an unsigned integer, 8 bits wide. And we're just interpreting the different things. I didn't bother in my language to define syntax for matches or switch statements. So yeah, I could have made like a switch statement, or I could have just had like, well, another way to do it would be to make a map. So map equals 0 is end of stream. I forget the exact syntax I used, but I think it's something like this. So you could do it this way, and just imagine that I'm not going to type them all, but imagine I did it. Then I could just say return map type. So that would be an alternate way of doing it. Maybe it would look nicer on the screen. I just didn't bother because I was just, lazy. So that's another way you could do it in my parsing language. But yeah, traditional way is you'd have like a switch, and you'd switch on the type, and you'd have 0 and return, just the return statements, right? Or if it's in Rust, you don't even need to say return. You just yield the string, and then that becomes the return value. So yeah, I just didn't define the syntax for those other ways of doing it. So it looks like C, but it's not. And one of the giveaways is that there's no such thing as else if in C. In C, you'd have to say else if. Also, the colons here, kind of a giveaway. And in a few places, I have like characters in front, like S or UY. And those are types. So it's like, generally it's data type, name, and then optional, colon, and then an expression, and then semicolon. That expression is the number of bits. The name is what to call it once you've done parsing it, and the type is either the format to go into to parse it, or it's a built-in format, like UI is a built-in unsigned integer, S is built-in for string. There are only a few built-ins. Most things are defined as building blocks for other things, right? So yeah, and the fact that this looks like a function, but we don't have any arguments, like we didn't do that. Or in another language like Rust, it would be fn. fact that you don't see that in there should be a red flag that we're probably not looking at C. Do you have a Git repo to follow your progress? I wish I could do that, but having a Git repo that's public would be open source, right? And my day job has a few rules, and one of them is I cannot participate in open source projects. So I can't open source my code right now. I can show you, just like if you were in my office and you're looking over my shoulder, I can show you my code, but I can't give you a Git repo, unfortunately. Would if I could. If I ever switch jobs, or if day job says, oh, actually we don't care, it's fine, I probably would export it. Right now it is in a Git repo, it's just not open. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. People ask all sorts of things and I don't mind answering it. But so you can automate my parser just by pulling into Lua. I'm also considering the other direction because I thought about this. Like how does it know if I click on this image data? How does it know that it should show an image viewer? So one way that we could teach it that it should show the image viewer and feed it this image data is if inside the actual the description of GIF, when we get down to image-based, wherever it is, it's around here somewhere, table-based image, if we had a way to say, like, I don't know, some new syntax would be something like, instead of a semicolon, we might have like, I don't know, I'm just inventing syntax on the fly. Like, what if we had forward slash, like, with slashes around it, and it's like, oh, that special syntax means that this is no longer to be interpreted as instructions to parse, but this is now an embedded Lua script. And then we would have something like this. Right? And what if we had something like this? Like mixed language, where we like, what did I have in the other script? Locate. So we don't have to locate it anymore because we're already within the context of image data. So maybe we would skip some of this stuff. It would just be passed in. You know what I mean? We would just extract the pixels out of it. I guess the pixels are the image data, so we don't even have to do that at all. It would just be displayed the image, and instead of like creating a new window, it would be more like set info panel would be some kind of new image viewer. I guess I need to actually declare that, but you know what I mean. I would need to. Oh, actually, I had it right there. I want to set info. It'd be something like this, right? I'm considering that because it would be super useful, because mixing Lua script with my language would like allow you to define like, hey, when you click on this over here, it should just run some Lua script, and that would just automatically populate like put an image viewer in some other panel. So I haven't done that yet, but it's something I'm considering. If you see it moved, it's because it detected I saved the file there. Like if I screw that up again and I hit save, it doesn't know that syntax, so it's like, error parsing formats file, line 114. So it actually tells me that there's a problem with that, but yeah. It auto reloads, which is kind of cool. Although it lost, because it had a parser error, it lost the position I was on, but that's to be expected. Anyway. Sometimes I have fun taking these side excursions to explain these and answer chat, but I do have to get back to my work or else I will never get it done. So I was working on that you could draw a zoom rectangle, and then once you release, it's supposed to draw it. And I think this is just not working. All these ones will be another frame. If call from outside the UI thread, so that's not true. So this should be working. I don't know why this is working. Let's do a print line to make sure it's actually working the way I expect. requesting repaint. The problem I was debugging here is that when I release the mouse after dragging a little zoom box, it's supposed to immediately zoom, but it's not. It's waiting until I hit the mouse again. I'm wondering if it's because the repaint is being eaten right away. So when I release that, see, requesting repaint, but it obviously didn't repaint with the new zoom coordinates. But when I move the mouse, boom, it's all of a sudden it's zoomed in, right? So that's not good enough. I'm gonna search my code to see. I must have run into this problem before. Oh yeah, I did right here. Okay, that was sufficient in the past, so why is this a problem now? Yeah, this worked before. What if I do, this suggested that we could do repaint after, maybe, with a delay? It's sort of a it feels like a hack, though. Duration, just make it a second. From seconds. 1. Try that. Feels like a hack though. Feels like I'm missing something. Like like maybe if I'm asking it to repaint early, then it might get dropped, right? Click and then release. It didn't even work. It's waiting until I move the mouse again. The call hierarchy of this. We're ignoring the response. I think that's fine because actually maybe that's not fine. That's what it is, I think. Well, oh wait, maybe not. Maybe not. This gets called from window, right? Yeah. Next draw time. Oh. Here's where we tell it to draw. Okay, and the UI will get that context, but I think this full output actually needs to have something set in it. Like in platform output, I think. Not quite sure. At some point, it figures out when to draw next, right? Yeah, this thing. It's this viewport output repaint after. Repaint delay, that's what it is. It's preferable instead install a set request repaint callback. Okay. Let me see if this is actually happening. Print line. Repainting after. Repaint after. I'm guessing that it's not getting that far. Then it would be the integration there that has the problem. Or if it is getting that far, then it's something else I'm doing wrong. Let's see. So we actually see that when we mouse over, we have those immediate repaint afters. So there was a repaint after queued. So hold on. I know what we can do. We can, every time we actually paint, we can print that out. So let's leave that in there a moment, and I'm going to go over here where we actually do a draw. And draw. And we actually draw the image right here. We're going to say print line image UV. If you're wondering what UV is, it's like graphics terminology. And oh, I have to do it in UI into. It's the coordinate system for textures, or instead of XY, it's UV. So it's the coordinates of the image. By default, it's going to be like 0, 0 to 1, 1, which means the entire image. But if we put something in there like 0.2 to 0.3, like 0.2, 0.2 to 0.3, 0.3, then it'll draw a subset of the image. And that's what we want to do when we're zooming, is it's going to be a subset, right? It's going to be the subset, which is what we zoomed in on. And if we zoom out, it's going to be 0, 0 to 1, 1. So yeah, it's all 0, 0 to 1, 1, and if I drag that and then release, okay, so the repaint happened, but we actually weren't told to draw. Or no, the repaint, we were never told to repaint. To move the mouse slightly, and then we get, okay. Am I just lucky that I picked exactly 0.4, 0.2 to 0.6, 0.4? I feel like I was extremely lucky there. Or it might be rounding. I think it's actually rounding. Anyway, it's not printing that, so that means we're not getting called to draw, right? So we are seeing the repainting after. So that should get sent back out of this draw. Right? So there should be an event loop set control flow wait until. Thing is, what it's supposed to do when the wait until, it's supposed to like wake up again. Oh wait, maybe it did wake up again and we didn't actually repaint. That might be why. That might be why. If I look at all the references to that and I go over to the GUI when we used that, I think we actually have to handle a special event here. Not a window event, but a. Yep, this is it. I forgot to implement this. So we get an event from eGUI saying that the resume time is reached, and I just forgot that I turned that into a request redraw. I just assumed it was automatic, but it's not. So basically, what's going on here is this doesn't actually request a redraw. We told eGUI we wanted it to redraw, but we didn't tell the window. We didn't tell the window we wanted to redraw. So we need to do that. So in this, its implementation of app whatever, where is it? Implementation of not window impl window host here. This one, application handler. We have to implement new events, and this just needs to be imported, right? Right. And what's wrong with this one? Oh, this ends up going to self. Okay, so what's the window again? It's window, which actually holds on to the window. So that means I need to, oh, I have a mouse dead zone. Did I get that by command clicking something while a pop-up was open? No, I don't know how I got it. I got to reboot though. But anyway, this has got to forward it on then. So I guess that's what we'll do. This type needs to have like request redraw in it. Let's just put it alphabetically where it should go, right? So right here. Oop. In here, right here, put it there. Self. Okay. So we just do self window request redraw. We're just forwarding it along. Because this window is not public. It is private, so we have to have this forwarder. So now this should work. It's private though, because it is private. Gotta make it public. Okay, now it should work, and then I'll reboot to fix the mouse dead zone. Wonder if you guys can hear my son in the other room yelling. I think he's playing Roblox and yelling whenever something happens. Okay, so click, drag, and release. Ooh, it worked. Okay, fixed it. All right, cool. Let's send my changes out of the virtual machine in case something goes horribly wrong, and then reboot. Password is Raimu. Password for Raimu is Raimu. Oh, you can hear him a little? I'll tell him that chat could hear him whenever he yells. I just think it's funny that he still plays Roblox. I thought Roblox was a little kid game, but apparently it's like you can be like late teenager and still be playing Roblox. It's a thing apparently. All right, we're gonna make an example. We're gonna make a shell here. Okay, and then be able to run that. And then while I'm here, file, new tab, run that. I wouldn't say my son's a game addict. It's just his socializing medium. And it's not all the things that they socialize in. It's when they can't get together. So I would say a game addict is someone who only socializes through games, and that's the only thing that they do. So he doesn't do only games. They also go out and do, I don't know what they do. Whatever teenagers do. Pretty sure it's not just play games at someone else's house. But the volume is a thing. Yeah. Well, at least they're having. At least he's having fun if he's yelling that loud. That's for sure. Okay, cool. So, got this window back up and running in case someone asks about what we're doing. Making this programmable parser. It turns this data into this data structure. And this is what I want to plug in there. Have that plugin roughly down here somewhere-ish. And today I'm working on zooming. So if I wanted to zoom in on Pepe's eye, I click and drag. Okay, cool. So I got to fix a few things. The numbers we're drawing are wrong. Also, the selection cross is too thin. And well, let's see if this is correct. If I zoom here, ish. So the coordinates are correct. We're just not showing them as correct on the rulers, and we're not actually making it the correct thickness. And also, yeah, the zoom rectangle is completely wrong. We got to fix those things. Two members asked, tormented by grainy pixels. Actually, they make plugins now for Roblox that it's not too bad. It's kind of crazy how many different kinds of games you can reconstruct in Roblox. Okay, so I guess I'll do the numbers first. Where are the numbers drawn? Not here, not here. Draw selection line with ruler mark. Here we go. Yep, so here it is. So this is in the wrong coordinates, right? And I have a function to fix this, right? It was self dot. Oh wait, we're not in self. We're in a free function. Oh, this position? How is that used? This is in UI coordinates. We need to be able to convert it back. I think I need to move this actually back into the inner. So that's what we're doing. Move it back in inner. I'm just gonna be lazy. I'm gonna paste it here, and we'll sort them. We'll sort these now. Here we go. We sorted them. Where did it go? It went here. No, this is what calls it. And this is where I wanted to do the self dot should fix it, right? No. Oh, because that's an associated method still. I need to actually add a self to it. Cool. So we got a warning that we don't need the self, but we're going to use that right now. Self dot image position from UI. I thought it would help me with the arguments. Not helping me. It's broken. Oh, probably because we're inside a format macro. That's okay. We can do it without the helpful stuff. So it's a position in an inner area. We have the inner area. We just need the position. So that's this guy, right? Cool. It's already in the right spot. So inner area. Found F32 because this is only doing the y coordinate. So I need yeah, we need to do this in 2D and then yeah. Guess we'll do it here. Pause image. So it's pause minus left top divided by image scaling, and then this is vec2 splat. And the rest of it's correct, right? Image scaling, we need vec2, I think it is. And then this is dot y. Okay, so what did I get wrong here? This is a spec2 flat. Didn't I make a helper for this yesterday? Or not yesterday, but the last time I streamed? Not enough parentheses? When in doubt, add more parentheses? Oh, that. There. Too many parentheses now. Okay, it wants a position, so to position. Wait, what? Oh, that's why I need the extra parentheses. Okay, it looks ugly, but I think it works. I wanted to search to see if I've done this anywhere else, maybe in a helper that I should be using. I should probably make a helper, because that's the exact same code as there. Right? I should make a helper for that if I don't already have. Okay, I do have it. Vec2 to column row. It has to be in it, so it's like this much of it. Minus vec2 splat, yep. And then maxed and rounded, and then returned it as, but it also cast it to usize, so yeah. So there are 4 places we do this. That should be, well, not this one. So there's only 3 places. There are 3 places that we do this math that I should probably combine together. Okay, I'll mark this with the to do for now. Refactor out the common math here. There's 2 of them. One is coordinate conversion from UI to image. And the other is rounding to the nearest pixel. Hold on. Maybe there is only one thing and I just didn't look at that right. These 2 are the same. It's this one that's different. Why is this one different? It's already in vector form. Oh, this is actually 2 concerns. It's getting a usize out, but this one here we needed it to stay as a vector. Okay, then refactor out the common math here. Refactor out the coordinate conversion UI image. Okay, that, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to where this math was repeated down here, but with a different concern. I'm going to put another to do. Can't type right now. There we go. I'll really refactor out this first step, which is a repeated elsewhere. The reason why we're subtracting by a half pixel and then doing max 0 round is ultimately we want to know a pixel offset in the image, but the position we want to be like the middle of the pixel, not the top left corner of the pixel. So this says we'll consider the middle of the pixel and then find the nearest pixel. Okay, yeah, I gotta wind down soon. Just try to get this to work. So if the position in the image coordinates is there, I want to print that's x coordinate. Oh, formatted. Wait a minute. Why didn't it like that? Why am I... Hold on. What am I doing here? I'm already calling that, so I don't need to call... This is just this. Is it the x coordinate? Horizontal section line with ruler mark. It is the x coordinate, right? Yes. Okay. I have one error. That needs the whole image scaling. All right. So this would have fixed the horizontal line. No, the vertical line. This fixes the vertical line. So the vertical line coordinate should be fixed now. Yes. Actually, maybe I did want to use that that other helper because it doesn't need to be a float, right? Oh, no, I broke it. It was the horizontal line, and it's completely broken right now. It's showing like a weird number. Oh, it's doing the X and not the Y. It's also, yeah, it's not even right. We want the Y coordinate, but what? Oh, I'm doing the math twice. That's the problem. I don't need any of this. I just need the position, right? Yeah, I just need the position here. Yeah, okay. Okay, yep. It didn't. I think I put the round in the wrong place. Actually, I think I do want to use that helper, don't I? Thunk. Not ready with the drum roll. Oh, that was missing some of its stuff too. Okay, I didn't do that right. It's it didn't have this part in it. So it's this goes out. What? That, right? Why can't I divide? Divide by position. Oh, yeah, okay. The whole thing needs to be a position. All right. Screwing things up left and right. But I'm wondering if that helper I saw that converted to U size would have been good enough. Maybe I should have just used that. And that needs to be taught the how to respect the zooming area. Okay, no, it's still wrong. Ugh, I'm totally screwing this up. It's just position. When it gets late and I'm supposed to wind down and go to bed, I make more mistakes. So now it's like a very, very large number of some kind. That's just funny. I know, it's just still afloat. What am I doing wrong? Oh, parentheses in the wrong spot. This just makes sure it doesn't go negative. Yeah. Placement of parentheses is really important. Making edits that are too fast and I'm not thinking. This is wrong, then I'm gonna really okay. It's wrong, so I'm really gonna slow down and fix this. What the heck? It's that. That. Oh, they're just two coordinate systems. There's on-screen coordinate systems and then in the image. So like up here is 0, 0 in the image, but over here is 0, 0 on the in the UI. 0, 0 of the UI is way up here. 0, 0 of the image is here, and down here is 111 by 111, but it's like many hundreds of pixels over because we're zoomed. The image the image pixel to UI pixel is large, is greater than 1, right? These pixels are big. But yeah, I fixed it. Now that I fixed it, I'm thinking that I actually wanted that other helper. After all, this one. Vector minus 5 max 0 round and then as U size. That's vec to column row. I think I just want that, right? I just want vec to column row and then I give it this first part. And then it takes care of this minus half a pixel to vec, all that rounding junk, right? So it wants a vector, which I can give it. It's gonna be a tuple, so I just need to fix this. Instead of dot y, it's dot 1. Or really, I can just say y, and then I can put it in the name, ignoring the x part. That should work too. I have a warning though. Oh, it's saying I can use it directly, and I can. The 8.8 seconds of compile time lets me review my life choices. Hey, but hey, it's finally doing what I want, and I realized that I had a helper I could use. So yeah, so now that I got it, let me walk through it and make sure that it's correct and that it also makes sense to you guys. So this is supposed to, it's supposed to take the zooming into effect. So image position from UI basically says, I want a position in image coordinates given a UI position in UI coordinates. This inner area is the UI coordinates of where we're drawing the image. So we go in there and it says, okay, well, let's get the position relative to the top left of that area, and then we're applying the zoom. We're converting from UI coordinates from the size of the image to the size we're actually zoomed in on the image. And then we're adding the top left, basically offset of the zoomed area, so that when we're zoomed in, the coordinates are correct. Then that is converted to column row by doing this adjustment to make sure it's the middle of the pixel, and then not negative, so we squash it at 0 or clamp it at 0, and then we round it. And it's because the image position is still float. So it's like, it can be a fractional pixel, and it's also like, the integers are the spaces between the pixels, and if we want to count the middles of the pixels, that's why we have this weird, this extra math where we're doing -0.5, so we're like, our numbers are now aligned to the center of the pixel and not the edges. And then because of that, you can actually go off to the left of the first pixel, so you'll end up being a negative number. And if we didn't do this, the round would take us back to 0, but it would actually say -0. Actually, the way that works, now that we're squashing it to U size, I don't even think we need this max anymore. So that was only to make sure we didn't see the number -0 in the UI. Anyway, now that we're going through those helper functions, it should actually honor the zoomed area and not assume that we're zoomed out. But this will only be that horizontal coordinate. So if I zoom in here, yeah, see now the top is 20, 22, 23, 24, and the bottom is 43, right? But the x coordinate's wrong. So we did the y, now let's do the x. So this, we're going to move it to here. It's going to take a self now. And it's going to take the whole scaling in there, because it's going to do a similar thing to this with the same, no, we already did this one, right? That's what this does. So we did that. Yay. I'm kind of thinking that these two functions ought to be combined, because we're ending up doing this conversion twice. I could calculate the cursor x and the y together. It's just the only things that would be separate are these line segments would be different. Also, the galley position of the text would be different. So maybe what I should do is move these actually out of the function to here. Maybe we do it before we draw the lines. We actually pre-calculate the position in image coordinates and the cursor position. Anyway, we'll do that later. So for now, this is just position image x, right? And then we have one error. Oh, because we wanted this to just take a vec2. because we're oh, actually didn't need to use it there, right? Because this is probably using it internally. It's actually not even using it at all. So technically I could go back to this taking that. Yeah, why don't I just do that? Well, yeah, well, yeah, make it consistent. X and Y, right? Wait, did I get that wrong? Oh, here it's a dot. Inside the function, it's not a dot. I feel kind of icky doing it this way. Okay, I'll get over it. Keep forgetting to remove the print lines. But definitely don't need them anymore, right? Don't need them anymore. All right, so when I zoom in on the eye, cool. So it's 42 to 67 and 22 by 43. Okay, now I need to make the lines with this correct. Oh, but first, get rid of the print lines. Here. And here. Leaving that one. Getting rid of this one. Hold on, I gotta let the dog out. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Okay, so the width of lines. Don't need to be there. It's draw selection, isn't it? Draw selection, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna feel so silly. This thing I've been messing with, I think, might be end up being the size of the line. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, big oops. Actually, maybe the math is the same. Maybe I need to pass in something different for this. Hey, Otto Brian, how are you doing? Yeah, I think I just need to pass in a different value for this. What am I working on? Working on a programmable parser. So this is what the main GUI looks like. You feed it like this is an animated GIF file or GIF file, however you want to say it, and this is what it parses out of it. So it determines there's like 11 data blocks that it finds the global color table here. It finds that the width and the height is 112 by 112. It's programmable because it's not hard coded to understand GIF. You can understand any format you feed it a format file for. And those look like this. So if this is the top level of the data tree, which represents the whole file. And if I kind of show it over here, the top nodes here, header, logical screen, data, and trailer, are these elements here, right? And so you can if you can describe a format using my format language, then you can basically teach my parser how to parse that file. So I have three formats right now, animated GIFs, JSON, and the MVE for interplay videos for old games like Fallout, Fallout 2, Baldur's Gate. And that's incomplete. This one's complete, except for we're not actually drawing the images that we parse out. We're just showing them in a tooltip like that. And so I've been working the last few streams on making an image viewer that we would plug into that, and it looks like this. We just have to wait for the compiler to compile, and come on, compiler. Okay, there we go. So imagine that we would have this plugged in so that instead of mousing over this and seeing the input, we would click this or this, and it would actually show this over here in the corner. And maybe if we selected a pixel, it would actually show us where it is in the file or something like that. Or maybe you just, whenever you click on the next data block, it would just show you the next frame. Overall, the file looks like this. If you were to animate all the frames, right? That's what I'm working on. Specifically the image viewer here, the bells and whistles. So I want to be able to like zoom in. So click and drag to select a window, and now it's zoomed in. So I was working on getting the pixel offsets correct. So 21 by 42 up in that corner and 45 or 6945 down here. But the image bars are not correct. See, they're using the old scaling factor, so I need to fix that. And also the 5 by 5 zoom doesn't work correctly. So also we can't zoom out. So there's a bunch of bells and whistles. I'm working on that. That 5 by 5 magnifier works when we're not zoomed in. It's kind of like if you're near the center of the eyeball and you opened it up, now you're a zoomed in view and you can see the individual color values that you're mousing over. And it works all the way to the edge like that. So we're handling the literal corner cases like that, and down here-ish, there's another corner case. And there's edge cases, literal edge cases. So yeah, I want this component to be reusable so that it's not tied to this GUI per se, but it can be integrated into it or other things. If in the future I want to work with image files and I want to have like a little versatile viewer, all of these features would be reusable for anything you might want to look at an image for, right? So yeah, let me fix the width of the bars when we're zoomed in is wrong. Actually, maybe while I'm at it, maybe I'll implement right click. Let me see if I can get right click working, because whenever we zoom, actually that's another thing I want to add. Whenever we zoom, we kind of want to push the previous zoom onto a stack. That when we right click, my idea is right clicking would go you back once, would be like an undo of the zoom. So if you zoomed in twice and then right clicked, you go back one step, and then right click again, you go back another step. So I think then to do that, it would be like zoom stack, the stack of rectangles. Stack comes from, wait, is it? I thought there was something in Rust called a stack. Am I wrong? Am I misremembering? Is it vectq and you just use it like a stack? Huh. You'd think I'd be able to remember this stuff. Is it that you can use a vec like a stack? Stack in Rust. Use vec when you want to stack. Okay then. Vec it is. All right, so we followed the errors, right? So it's saying I need to initialize it here. Let's just use this traditional vec new. All right, and then I have a warning that I'm not using it, so let's use it. So I want to push the zoom stack whenever the very misnamed function zoom is called. fact, let's rename this now. Fly zoom. Okay, so then we're going to self zoom stack push the old bounds. So that would be self.zoom, right? Can't call it in a const function, fair enough. So then I need the pop. So why don't I just make a zoom out? Then actually, wouldn't this be called zoom in? I think that should just be called zoom in, and then we can have zoom out. So zoom out would just be like, let last zoom equals self.zoom stack.pop unwrap or. So the default is going to be what we constructed in new. So let me just steal a copy of that. Actually, can we make a function that we can call from two places? Why is it image to UI? That's not technically true, is it? I don't think that name is correct anymore. I think it originally was UI coordinates, but now it also applies to actually that yeah, I'm kind of twisting the types here. It's not just UI coordinates, it's also image coordinates. Oh well. I'm just going to copy for now. And because that's calling a function to compute something, we're going to do that. Can I just plug in self here? Or is it going to complain? No, it's okay with that. Okay, so then I can just set that to self.zoom, right? Right. So then all I need to do is have something called zoom out. Hey there, Quantum Apprentice. Fancy seeing you here. Yeah, someone was waving to me from the door there. But I also wave to you and all your raiders too. So I'm working on a programmable parser. You might have seen some of the chat in Quantum's channel earlier. So let me flip to the format you guys were probably looking at not too long ago. So I have a parser for MVE, and here's the interplay logo. And this is what I had pasted into your Discord earlier. Making this a little wider so I can see it. So we're parsing some of these things. I just haven't parsed the rest of it, but my parser is programmable in that you can feed it a format file, right? So we can teach it what an MVE is. And if MVE needs to know what a chunk is, well, we can teach it what a chunk is. And the chunk can have an opcode, and an opcode's here. And this is as far as I got. I got down to like, I taught it about opcode 5 and 10. And that's where I stopped. And the else is like, for everything else, all I can really say is what kind of opcode it is. We're not actually parsing the bits. So bits is a built-in type where like you don't know how to parse it, you just want to skip it and just like show it as a big blob. So like in the video chunks, for example, like there's video data, and it just says, well, it's just a blob. Like there it is. There's the blob of bits. All we know is what type it is. Yeah. So that's what I've been working on. And another format you may have heard of is GIF, animated GIF. So I have a format config for that, GIF, and then if I open Hog Slide, which looks like this, it's an animated GIF with, I think it's like 11 frames in it. Let's see what my parser says. Okay, my parser says there are 10 frames and there's an app extension in front of it. So if you click down into here, you can actually get to the image data, but I don't have a nice viewer integrated into it. So that's what I've been working on, is that you might imagine like you might click on that, and in addition to seeing where the raw bytes came from to form the image, and seeing like the raw output pixel indices, that it might also show something like this on top. Just modified it so it's going to take 8 seconds to compile. And there we go. So imagine that it would, I would pop it in maybe somewhere down here. So every time you click a different image, it would show you a different frame of the GIF. And then I'm working on little bells and whistles to do things like zoom in here and little magnifier to show you the raw pixel values and that kind of thing. The rulers aren't done, so I want to have like actual things that look like rulers on the left and the top. And right now I was working on adding the zoom out. So we did a zoom in, but I don't have a zoom out. I want to right click to zoom out. So that's what I'm going to work on next. That's better than what Grok is producing. Well, the thing is, it's kind of hard to teach AI to make a parser because parsers have to be pretty precise, right? You get a single bit off and it just goes off into the weeds. I'm planning on implementing animated GIF and modding tool eventually. So, I mean, animated anything image format is really just a sequence of images. You just have to have some kind of, like in this case, they call it a graphic control extension, where it has instructions on like delay time is the easiest, where you say like in units of tenths of a second, how many units of time to wait until you go to the next block. And you probably saw in MVE, it's the same thing, right? There's like a timer or something. That's all an animated image or a video really is. It's just a sequence of still images and with some delay in between. And so all the formats are going to be like this. So if you were to like to load any kind of animated image or movie format, you be prepared to have an array of the individual frames and then instructions in there saying like how much to wait between each frame. It's going to be very similar no matter what format you pick. Scroll zoom is on the list. So I want to zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. Probably not going to get to that tonight because really I should be kind of winding down and ending the stream soon. Oh, but I'll keep going a little bit longer just for you guys. So actually I did this, but it's not, but I forgot that I wanted that to be alt click. So what if we pretend right now that that's what I wanted? And then I can mark this off because that's done now. I like that idea. So I'm working on this one right now. Right clicking should zoom out one step. And I have the code in there, we're just not calling it. That's what it's saying, telling me here. It's never used. So I need to find the place where we want to call that. And I think the right place is where we are responding to events that are picked up when we're actually drawing that area. So that would be in draw, I think. Yeah, there's this inner area response. Aha. And I'll right click to zoom out. Here we go. We're going to do it. So if inner response clicked by pointer button secondary, then self dot zoom out. Easy peasy. I think that's all I need to do. I love it when a plan comes together. We're going to allow that. Yeah, LLMs go off into the weeds because they really don't think like we do. They don't reason and connect things in logical steps. It's more like a blobby sort of like matching patterns, and then the input looks like this, and it kind of fits my training this way, and so I'm going to output this. What I think makes them seem like they're thinking is that the way I understand it, the AI, the language models kind of sharpen the edges around the output blob, and so it looks like it's coming up with logical thoughts. But that's where these hallucinations come in. So like when the blob doesn't really fit right, or it's not the correct shape, it'll make an eloquent statement about it, but it'll be totally wrong. Like it'll be like, you should call this function, and it's like, well, that function doesn't exist. I don't know what you mean, but um, it's sort of like as humans we're fooled into thinking that the AI is smarter than it really is. Okay, so zoom in, zoom out. Hey, look, it works. I should be able to do this in steps because I have a stack. Step, step. Nice. That was easy. I'm saving the easy ones for last, I guess. Not to do anymore. And done. You've had a couple interactions where the LLM corrected an earlier assumption it made about how yeah, so when the language model outputs the blob and part of the blob is shaped wrong because just how it went through its training, when you refine your query, you're kind of telling it, hey, that part of your output, shape it a different way. So you're kind of, it's kind of like how I use AI. If you give it a short prompt, a vague request, it'll give you an output that has maybe 80% there. So then you focus on you say, well, you got this 20% wrong. Here are some things you could do differently. And then it's like, okay, it's 80% of 20%, closer to the goal. And like, it'll never really get there, but it'll get close enough that you don't care about the 0.001% it got wrong. Like maybe some variable name is wrong. You won't care. It'll be correct, right? I love how AI is taking over search engines because for years I just wanted to type English sentence saying, "Hey, I'm trying to do this, and I want to learn more about how to do this thing." And like you had to craft your keywords just right to for the search engine to find what you're looking for. Now you don't do that. Now you just use natural language, and it like figures out what the gist of what you want. I love it. So I think since I'm running out of time, I'm just gonna do the mouse wheel thing and then call it a night. Mostly agree except for what it said in the response letter. He described what it got wrong and what the potential solution was. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it seemed like what you were doing should get you closer and closer to the goal. I don't know why it was getting off base. Like, or maybe like, could it be like losing some of its previous state and like what it got right before it gets wrong now? Takes care of its own job security? And maybe. So, a mouse wheel. Good that I already had positioned out. Oh, we already did that. We'll draw the zoom rectangle. The fact that I have so many comments tells me I need to refactor this code. Like, this should be a function called draw zoom rectangle. Zoom drag UI. Yeah. Let's just do that now before I forget. I'll call this function draw zoom rectangle. Then this comment becomes redundant. This also becomes redundant. See how that works? I can group these together and then I could refactor that out later, or I can just kind of leave the comments in here as sort of just like a logical grouping, a loose grouping. Zoom related functionality. So that's here, right? And it's actually quite readable. Handle zoom by dragging, draw zoom rectangle, zoom out. So this would be like if, same kind of thing, right? Wheel. How do we know if the wheel was? Is it drag delta? No, not drag delta. Drag motion. One of these. Don't suppose anyone else knows eGUI and would know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for mouse wheel stuff. I think I am missing it, so maybe it's time for me to ask my AI overlord. Time to ask our AI overlord. Let's ask AI duck or whatever it's called. In eGUI, how are mouse wheel events represented? Generating an answer. Input state struct. See if I've done this before in the other parts of the GUI. Nope. Okay, so I think the closest thing would be just... Actually, I could have done this from the start. Event mouse wheel. I just thought it would come back as a response. This is the back end. How do I see it in the front end though? Like I expected to see it here somewhere. Changed, clicked, dragged, double clicked. Maybe it's interact. Ah, sense more interactions. I think that's different. That's something else. Middle clicked. Scroll to me? That's not it. Okay, I don't know. You gotta get food? That's perfectly fine. Changed. That's not right. Okay, I don't know how to do this. Follow-up question. Can I follow it right here? How does such an event flow through to a widget response? Oh, here we go. So I guess I should just search in what is it called? In the integration layer. It'll be there, right? So if I go to widget host, no, widget, no, window. It's one of those four. When we give it events, where do we do that? It's in one of these guys. There it is. On window event. So now we're in the integration layer between eGUI and WInit. So in here, I'm looking for like a wheel. Oh, here we go. Event response consumed. So what does on mouse wheel do? Okay. So there is a mouse wheel. How does this come back out? There's a scroll delta goes somewhere. Interesting. Where does that go? Huh. So there is a raw scroll delta. Okay. Smooth scroll delta, zoom factor delta. Okay, so it's like zoom delta. That's what I'm looking for. Zoom. It's in the input state. Okay, then we can get that back out. All right, got it. So we're looking for zoom delta in the input state. I've done input state stuff before. So input state, input state thing. Oh, not exactly there. It's like something like input or UI.context.input. Yeah, this thing. And then there's a reader input. Yeah. References to that. Yeah, I did it down here. So that's how you know if you're holding down the shift key. Yes. So yeah, okay, got it. What? Dog needs to go out again. Hold on. That's right. Not only am I a streamer, I'm also a dog butler. I let the dog in and out. Okay, so input dot zoom delta. I guess we just want to match on this, right? And it could be less than 1, so zoom if zoom is less than. Okay, so it would be like some fraction. This is like zoom in. Or zoom out. Otherwise, we don't care. I guess that would be exactly 1, but don't do anything. Okay, so this is zoom in. So it would be like we could use that fraction, right? So we could apply that fraction centered around the current pixel and apply it to the current zoom. So let's just print it for now. Zoom in. I just want to see if I got this correct. Oh, they're floats. Dang it. There we go. I'm just going to leave that as a catch-all. Redundant closure. So I can just say that. Okay. So my AI overlord did not work out for me. It did not really understand what I was getting at. It should have just said, hey, you need to just look at the input state. You can get it from the context of the UI that you were given. So if I mouse wheel up, nothing happens. Okay, it's not working. Well, oh, dog wants back in now. I actually think I know why nothing's happening. I think you have to enable it with with extra sense option. If I remember right, in here, we just said sense click and drag, right? I think we also want that's all that there is. Let's just say all. Oh, I'm hoping that that's what's missing. Nope, that wasn't it. Definitely not working. Mouse wheel not working. Okay, so what else could it be? Oh, it's only for multi-touch. So I really can't use zoom. Then maybe I need to use zoom delta 2D. Control zoom or pinch gesture. No, this should have still worked, right? It should use this zoom factor delta. What? There's a to do, and it's not mine. It wasn't zoom though, it was mouse wheel. Okay, so I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's not zoom factor delta, it's this other thing. Right? It's this raw scroll delta. is scrolling. It's probably in that input state, right? So, am I already in input state? Yes. So I'm looking, it's not zoom, right? It's like scroll or something. The control scroll for the zoom thingy? I don't know. Yeah. Uh, it's not zoom. That's for pinches for multi-touch. I mean, on like a MacBook, on a MacBook, I might want to support that, but yeah, I guess the mouse wheel is not considered the same as a pinch gesture. So yeah, where is the mouse scroll? I guess I'm going back to the code to see how this gets in there. Like this. Do a scroll delta instead. It is oh, it's public. It's public. All right. So then I don't need to I just need to just do this input dot that. And I really only care about the Y, right? Swiping down on a touchscreen or trackpad with natural scrolling. It doesn't say it, but I think I'm just guessing that it's the same as a mouse wheel. I guess we're looking at the Y coordinate. Let's see. And it's not going to be around 1, is it? It's going to be like 0, going to be around 0. So this is going to like really start zooming in aggressively. Yep. So really, I only care about positive and 0. Okay, we're getting there. Figured out it's actually just a public field of the zoom thing. So it's smooth. Do I actually want it to smooth like that? Maybe I do. Because that'll have like it won't be like a jarring jump. It'll actually zoom in slowly. Well, really, if we're only zooming in, I'm just trying to think. I think I want the zoom to always be an integer number of pixels. I don't know what it does right now if it's not. I think it actually might show fractional. Like we just see what it does. What am I saying? So I'm not going to care about the position yet. We're just gonna zoom in on the center. So self dot zoom in. So I just need a rectangle that's the same as the current zoom rectangle around the center, only like closer in. So we'll just take the current zoom rectangle and then just say yeah, shrink, right? By what does that amount in each direction mean? So when I take the zoom factor, so it's from 0 to -1, right? to be like negative zoom is now from 0 to 1. And let's say that it's like some number of pixels, so or some percentage of the image. So let's make a constant for that. Zoom, or this is called what? Scroll delta? Zoom scroll percent. And that needs to be multiplied by the current size, so that's self.zoom.size divided by 100. So let's just keep it close here. Well, let's just call it ratio. And then only the 100. So this is just say 80%. Wait. Oh, it's in each direction. I don't want each direction. I want shrink 2. And then that needs to be a vector. Doesn't like that. Oh, because I named it wrong. Yeah, it's just warning me that I have a constant declared in the middle of a program. Usually declare them at the top. Okay. This is very crude, but hopefully it works. It zoomed in really quick to 1 pixel. That's not what I wanted. Oh, it shouldn't be that far. Also, I have this wrong. I ended up having to scroll down or out in order to go in. So yeah, this needs not a negative, and it's not 80%, but the inverse of that. So like 20% at a time. Actually, probably even less than that. Let's go down to 0.5 and see what I get. So if the way the smooth works, my understanding of that is it should like apply a smoothing function over time. Okay, it went way too quick again. Oh, why does it do 12? So I was wrong about the 0 to 1. That's a weird function that it applied. If it's in pixels, then yeah, I got to scale this down quite a bit. That was me just moving 1 tick on the mouse wheel. It did a 12, and then this must be the smoothing function. That's a really weird smoothing function. Yeah, that's odd. That's very odd. I don't know why it's doing that. But 12, it's not. Oops, not that one. It's definitely not that. I need to divide it even further. Maybe I'll just add some zeros. Now I'm completely like spitballing it or whatever you want to say. Like totally guessing. Cool. Sort of works. So it was a little insensitive, so now I'm doing a factor of 10. And then I need to do the zoom out. But what I really want to do is if I know the center, the pixel that we're interacting on, we can zoom in relative to that, right? Right now it's zooming in the relative to the center. Okay, let me do the zoom out. I'm okay moving this out now. Okay, so I guess we'll fix this while we're here. I guess these don't need to be mutable. All right, they happen to be nearby there. Oh, another thing is this is going to get called a lot, right? So maybe we have that bypass the stack thing. So then I can break this up, right? What do we want to call this? Like record, well, push current zoom. Well, why don't I just, okay, I won't even call it something different. I'll just move this line out and just put it here. Like that. So the normal zoom in doesn't push a zoom state. Actually, what I would really like to know is like when the zoom smoothing begins and ends, and then I'd know when to push and when not to push. Right now, we're just not going to push at all. And okay, really, this isn't zoom in, is it? This is, I guess, set zoom. Yeah. This can be a const function again. Okay, so then, because zooming out is also setting the zoom, it's just zooming in the other direction. And this is divide by instead of multiply by. Can't divide an F30. Oh, I see. If I move this around. Ah. Okay, actually, this ought to be in front. Actually, if that's in front, it's already a vector, then we can do that too. So then, yeah, really just the sizes up front. Because we needed to turn it into a vector operation. Then the divide works. It just doesn't want to have a float in front because it's the left type that dominates on multiply and divide. Should say the type to do the multiplication and division in is determined by the value on the left. So if in this case this is a vec2, but zoom is a float. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's what I want. Now the zoom out should work, although it'll get really weird if I zoom out too far. So I need to actually clamp this, don't I? Zoom in, zoom. Oh, it totally messed up. Where did it zoom out? Zoom in, zoom out. I think my math is wrong here. I want to divide by both. Actually, I want to divide. That'll work, right? I think so. I think actually I don't. I think my math might be wrong. Yep, it's wrong. Let me think about this. So this was like a number from like 0 to 12. And so that's why I reduced this number, right? So if this is also a number from 0 to down to negative 12, I want to reverse its sign and then multiply that scroll ratio. But I don't think that that's correct. Oh, it should be 1 minus. That's right. So it should be times 1 minus? Or 1 plus. That's got to be vec2 splat. Once again, I've stayed up way too late. That's okay. I'll be happy when I get to a stopping point. My trouble is finding a stopping point that's not too late in the evening. Isn't it just zoom times scale, no divide at all? Yeah, the secret I think was the 1 minus. Oh, it's flipping it though. That's really funny. It's sometimes flipping the sign. Oh, because it's not shrink. Duh. Expand to. So expand by that much in each direction would be... I guess, yeah. It is that, right? Yes. So I think you're right, Low and Max. It's just that I had a shrink instead of an expand. I forgot that it's got an built-in multiplication. There we go. But see, if I don't clamp it to the end, it extends that last column off to infinity. And actually, you can see how it's stuck at 0 there, and if we go off the end here, it just keeps going up. And same thing there. So I do have this. I have it 0. The 0 clamp works. In fact, that should actually that's broken. I need to fix that tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Friday. So I need to clamp on the way out, right? Yep. I'm gonna keep it simple right now. So, is there just a built-in clamp? There is. Wait, does that actually work? This is returning a rectangle, but this is going to... Oh, returns the given point clamped inside the rectangle. So that's not exactly what I want, is it? I want to like clamp the rectangle. It would be intersects, wouldn't it? And not a bool, but like the intersection. It would be this, right? Yes, I think so. Intersect. And then this will be the third time I do this 0 thing. I really need to refactor that out. I guess the default zoom rectangle. We intersect with that default zoom rectangle, it should never get bigger than it. Yeah, the funniest bugs are graphics bugs, I think. Yep. See, now when I zoom out, it refuses to go even anymore. Exactly what we want. So the only other refinement to make here is it should like center it on where the cursor is, but it's too late in the evening for me to think about that math, so I'm going to leave it for tomorrow. So, what to do? I'm going to say that this is done with both of them are done, but then I need to have a new one. Center on cursor and zooming in or out with mouse wheel. Okay. Feature to drag this scaled area left to right is missing. Yeah, this one. And I do have to refactor that. And there's a bunch of other miscellaneous refactorings in there I need to do. And I need to draw the ruler marks and measures. Okay. So, close that. Send it out of the virtual machine so I don't lose it. So, yeah. I'm happy. I have stuff to do. I'll be streaming again on Friday, I think. So, if you made it this far, congratulations. Let's see if someone else is streaming that I can hand you off to. Otherwise, yeah, a lot of the times this late in the evening, there's like no one else doing programming that I can find. There's people doing pixel art that I know, but no one doing programming. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave it to you guys to pick the next person you want to watch. And I'm going to go wind down for the evening. For me, it's in the evening. If it's morning for you, that means you're way over there on that other continent. That's what ends up happening is near the end of my stream, people are waking up in Europe. And that's why, like, I'm also going to try to stream at least once on the weekend earlier in my day so that it's a more EU UK friendly time, more like in the afternoon evening-ish. Yeah, so this time it's tough for Europe because you really only see the end of my stream and only if you get up early in the morning. But yeah. Yeah, good night Quantum Apprentice and Lone Max and Reboodle, Akira Data, and all the lurkers. Dev with Ricardo. Fifth Function. JBow1. Everyone else, thank you for watching. See you next time. Probably Friday. Around the same time. So that's Friday, 3 hours back. Good night.